Hey, I'm Tom from Pack Hacker, and in this video, we're taking a detailed look at the Able Carry Daybreaker 2, which I've been testing over the course of the last 2 weeks. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so we can keep bringing you content to help you travel smarter. Let's jump in. All right, so the biggest selling point of this bag is that it's lightweight. It comes in at just 660 grams, and it's got this really kind of lightweight ripstop material on the outside. We have an Aquacard YKK zipper going up here, and then we have these Hypalon zipper pulls. Not a ton going on the outside of this bag. I think that's one of the main selling points is the simplicity. But there's actually a couple of little hidden features too. So you have handles on all sides, which you can grab the bag by. All these make sense for their position. They're pretty comfortable. You can see the bag has a little bit of that tilt because sometimes that happens if the handle isn't angled, sewn on, or it's not centered in the middle of the bag. So it's got a little bit of tilt to it, but I think it works well overall. Handle on the top. So handle on all 3 sides. And then we have on the bottom here, there's just some areas to lash gear onto. So if you wanted to like lash something down at the bottom here, like a sleeping roll, you could totally do that because you have a lash loop here and here. All right, pretty simple, pretty minimal. And then if we flip it over, there's a water bottle pocket here. I think this works relatively well. It doesn't really grip too great. I did have a 32-ounce hydro flask in here over the weekend. That was a lot better. This is a smaller hydro flask. You can see that it's not quite as grippy on it because of that ripstop material. There is an elastic thing here that grips it down a little, but it's just, I mean, even now you can see that it's very loose. So I do like having this lash loop up here. I mean, we got lash loops here and here and here, all over the place. But I like this here. I like to call this the insurance carabiner. That's just gonna keep your bottle from slipping out. So I have that attached to the lash loop, and then I have that attached to the water bottle. So you might wanna go with that if you plan on traveling with this thing. One of my favorite memories as of late was we were taking off on the plane and someone's water bottle just rolled down 30 seats in the airplane. And I was like, should have had the insurance carabiner there, buddy. So that always helps. All right, so the harness system kind of reminds me of a hiking backpack in the way that there is more space of the bag up here on the top. So when you have more space on the top, brings that weight up your back a little bit, and it provides a more comfortable fit. The bag actually feels lighter when you have weight kind of going above. So these shoulder straps are mounted a little lower, which means this part's gonna be higher on your back, which I dig. So it kind of reminds me of a hiking bag in that sense. Flipping over these straps, you can just feel them. They're like really, really light. We have some mesh for breathability here. There's still some relatively thick and spongy foam in here though too, so it is quite comfortable. The little Able Carry logo here. The sternum strap I was curious about because it is a little bit big still. I've seen brands like Matador, like Bellroy as of late, they're doing smaller and skinnier sternum straps in some areas. So maybe that would be an opportunity to make this bag even lighter. I'd be curious to see, if it had a thinner, less robust sternum strap, if it would be lighter. I really like this plastic hardware. I typically don't, but the way that this is thin enough here, or it's not that wide. So there's enough to keep this locked in with this plastic hardware here. It's not really gonna come out. I've yanked this around a good amount and it sticks in there pretty well. That being said too, with the sternum strap, you can just remove it if you wanna save that weight. You have standard plastic adjusters down here, soft seatbelt-like material, which I dig, and a plastic strap keeper. No mesh on the back panel, but there is padding. All right, so here's what the bag looks like on me. Due to that lightweight fabric and not really a super structured back panel, you can see that it's a bit saggy, but I do like, again, that there's that space on the top, which makes it feel better. The sternum strap also really helps with the bag's fit as well. It is comfortable on the shoulder straps too. I think they did a good job on the shoulder straps, but again, without some, structure of a frame sheet or, the stiffer fabric, you are gonna get a saggier look going on, and I think that's just unavoidable. So that's what you're gonna pay for when you're going for that lighter weight. Like I said earlier, this is very close to a packable backpack. All right, so moving on to the secondary compartments, there's just one, and that's this side pocket here. Hypalon zipper, there's a nice little zipper garage there with that YKK zipper. which is weather resistant. I open that up, and then there's a key leash in here as well, which again, if they're really trying to save weight, there are, I mean, this is a pretty lightweight key leash, but there are smaller ones out there that don't have this metal clip. There's like just ones with a plastic clip. Maybe they could have shaved off a couple more grams if they wanted to. But you do have that kind of robustness, I guess, still of this bag, which is, again, like this type of key clip is like setting it apart from like a traditional packable bag. So it has a bit of ruggedness to it, if that's even a word. And then I just wanted to give you an idea of the sizing here. So this is about a passport-sized pocket up here on the top. I'll slide that to the top and you can see where this ends, and then I'll slide it to the bottom and you can see where that ends. So it does go down quite a ways right there. If you see this line here, that's where it is. And then this is the size of that Field Notes notebook. So good amount of space here, but it's not super voluminous. So like smaller, flatter items in here are gonna work well. Those are gonna work best, like the Field Notes. But as for like just stuffing in like gloves and a buff in there, maybe you could, depending on how full the interior is. The interior, when it's full, it kind of pushes out on these pockets on the side, but not a ton of space in here in this small side pocket. There's also a bit of fraying up here at the top. Again, I've only been testing this for 2 weeks, so not a great sign that it's already fraying a little bit. All right, on to the main event, the main compartment. I want to take this opportunity to talk about the asymmetrical zipper. So this is the change from the previous Daybreaker, which I dig. So this zipper actually goes down all the way, gives you a little bit more access to the inside without being fully clamshell. Of course, it can't do that on this side because the water bottle, I think it would just mess up the structure of the bag. So that's why it doesn't go down all the way. So this opens up and you get some good visibility to the inside of your bag. I like when bags do this a lot. Now, one thing to note here is in this top mesh pocket, I dig this material. It's like stretchy, it's very, very nice and spacious, but it can get heavy. So I just have 2 little Tom Bin Ghost Whale pouches in here, headphones, a pack of gum, stuff that's not very heavy. These aren't really filled up with anything super heavy. There's like patches and stickers in them. But even with not a ton of weight, it just gives it a little bit of a floppy feel, which I don't love. There's no liner on the inside of this either to give it a little bit more structure. So if you fill it up with things that weigh a lot, it just gives you this kind of floppy feel, and it does become a bit weird to pack, especially if it's more on the empty side and it doesn't get structure from what's inside. This can just be like I brought this to the coffee shop, and it's just kind of like on the ground at the coffee shop, not looking too great. So it's more of like an outdoor, like hiking, minimal travel bag than like an everyday bag. But you can still get the job done. It just gets a little floppy. 2 pouches on the inside. Again, would highly recommend packing pouches with this because there's not a ton of interior organization. Just got a hoodie down here at the bottom. So that's what I was able to fill in that main compartment. There was still a good amount of room at the top of this bag as well. So that's something to note. And then on the interior here, there's like another interior bottle pocket that you could use, or a little slide pocket you could use if you want to put anything in there. I'll just test it out quickly with this water bottle from Hydro Flask. Of course, I'm probably not going to put my water bottle inside here because I don't really want it next to my laptop, but that goes in like so. If you're going to be using this again for hiking and maybe you have a water bladder in the back or some other supplies or like a jacket stuffed back here, it's better for that. Laptop sleeve on the back, it's basically got some liner and elastic up here at the top, which gives it a bit of stretch, but not too much. I've got a separate laptop sleeve. Would highly recommend using a separate laptop sleeve if you're gonna carry a laptop with this because it is so thin. And let me pull this out here to get it off to the side. Then another thing you'll notice is there are 2 zippers up here at the top. This bottom one is for this pocket, which I've got a passport-sized wallet in here that's holding my passport. So that's pretty much perfectly sized for that. Just barely fits in there. There's some info from Able Carry there if you want to read that, check it out. But the one thing about this pocket that I'll note is that if you put things, again, AirTag in here too, that are a bit more voluminous, it can block this from like a laptop from easily going in, especially this bigger 16-inch laptop, and arguably right now pretty big sleeve because there's this extra fabric on the outside. This one from Bellroy. And then this zippered pocket here, you open that up. And what that does is that just gives us access to that foam frame sheet. So you can see the material here. It's like a foam that's pretty flexible and there's not a ton going on. But you can take that out if you want. It's, I guess, a pocket if you want it to be, but not really. little toggle here if you want to just hang anything inside, or it's a toggle for like a water bladder if you want to weave a hose out through this thing. So yeah, it's pretty much empty now. I still have stuff in this top pocket, but you can see now when it's empty, the integrity of that. I mean, it's got more structure than a packable backpack, but overall, there's really not a ton of structure here. So it's up to you whether or not it's worth that savings of weight for a bag like this, which is more on the spectrum of a packable bag. So there you have it, the Able Carry Daybreaker 2. Thanks for keeping it here at Pack Hacker, your guide to smarter travel. See you in the next video.